I think some people want to second guess themselves or want to say something maybe too quickly, or they just want to tell you something in hindsight because it feels good. So in this case, where conversation number 2 goes, Dan O'Dowd, former general manager, has his Oriole ties and throughout baseball in Cleveland. It's another place. And I really do love Dan. He did have a comment that came out recently where he expressed, and Zach, you can cue the graphic, where he said, I would have taken Bobby Witte over Adley Rutschman with the number 1 overall pick in 2019. So to refresh your memories here, Adley Rutschman was the surefire number 1 pick. Consensus. Like, there wasn't a debate who was number 1. It was the guy from Oregon State, the switch hitting catcher, number one. And then there was this talented shortstop coming out of high school that has a baseball pedigree in his family, that obviously has intangibles, but there are going to be some question marks.
Yeah.
And so it's one thing now. Why is this conversation coming up? Because we are now 6 years later. Bobby Witte Jr. is an MVP type player, and Adley Rutschman is having struggles now in his 4th big league season since he came up in 2022. And I sit here and look, I understand where this conversation goes, but can we not forget what Adley's impact was on the team when he did come up here?
Not only that, but like what he was in the draft pool. And I don't want to take this away from Zach because Zach actually brought this up. And I thought it was a great point. Zach, you want to remind the people what happened and why Adley Rutschman was the number 1 overall pick in that draft?
I mean, literally, if people forget that it was in the College Baseball World Series, bases loaded, Adley Rutschman was walked intentionally.
Yeah.
They told him to take his base. They'll give him the RBI because no one wanted to face him. Like, he was consensus. And, I went through.
The Royals would have drafted Adley.
Yeah.
If he was available.
Anyone who had the number 1 overall pick was going to take Adley.
Yes.
And so I went back. I found some mock drafts. May 23rd, 2019, Jonathan Mayo of MLB Network, number 1 pick, Adley Rutschman. On May 29th, 2019, Fangraphs, number 1 pick, Adley Rutschman. Now we go back. Now we have Jim Callis of MLB.com, May 31st, 2019, number 1 pick, Adley Rutschman. Adley Rutschman, number 1 pick for Bleacher Report on.
Does Dan O'Dowd have a mock draft? Because that would have been hilarious.
I've been trying to find it. Don't worry. But I got something. Don't worry. Then all of a sudden we have CBS. First pick, Adley Rutschman. Perfect Game. First pick, Adley Rutschman. And then after, didn't have time to crop, download, and do all that. But after the draft, on MLB Network, Dan O'Dowd said that he loves and could not think of a more perfect place for all the first 4 picks to go, and said that it was the perfect thing to do for each team because it fits all their needs and all of them got the best player they needed.
I think that that's a perfect example or perfect way to put it, because it was. Adley Rutschman was a part of a huge transformation for this ball club and had been an all-star the prior 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And yes, I understand offensively, and you can say defensively, there's some things going on, or he's not reaching those metrics that you want. Well, guess what? He's still a catcher that has left an imprint on this team. I believe in the talent long-term, and it was the right move. We don't know how prospects are going to always turn out. Bobby Witte Jr. is an MVP. But guess what? Gunnar Henderson was a 2nd-round pick that everyone had a chance to go and get, and Baltimore took a chance on him. And guess what? Gunnar Henderson, if you were going to poll general managers around baseball, there isn't 10 other players that they are taking in front of Gunnar Henderson.
No.
Same thing with Bobby Witte Jr. That's how the draft plays out. Pete Crow Armstrong now on the Cubs. Yeah, he was a 1st-round pick. Wasn't the first pick, right?
Yeah.
Point being, players develop differently. And star players in the draft You don't know which one's going to shine the brightest. It is a fun exercise for some to go back and play that game. But let's just face it. It's always going to be 2020. Do you think then going around the NFL draft, the Raiders would have taken Jamarcus Russell if they had thought back to how things went?
Probably not. Probably not.
I think the Jets would have gone for Zach Wilson.
Probably not. But if you go and do that workout and throw it across your body, it tells people that you're in.
I swear that throw.
You don't see that every time in the NFL.
Right.
You don't see that play being made.
Or now it's like a routine pro day thing that they do now is the Zach Wilson. Like that's the thing that QBs will now just try and recreate at their pro days, and the impact and frankly some of the damage that has happened with assessing QBs coming into the draft because of that throw. It's incredible, but I digress.
Well, if you can do that, you are guaranteed.
You just might go top
nothing.
3.
There's a couple of people that have takes right now of taking Gunner over Bobby Witt. I love Gunner. I think he's a generational talent. Still not taking him over Bobby at this point or even in the draft.
Well, right, and that's Bobby went where he did.
He should have gone, and he's living up to that. I'm not saying that like Gunner isn't going to be a generational talent. So like, let me just make that clear. But if I had a choice, I'm still taking Bobby Witt over Gunner every single damn time.
Well, right now, you can say why Bobby Witt, because he has figured out all parts of his game at the moment. Upside, I'd still argue for Gunner because Gunner
and he took a team-friendly deal.
So there's a lot of things why I'm looking at it right there. I'm going to say that Gunner's contract's going to be a little bit more expensive when the time comes, but both tremendous players. This is the crapshoot with the draft. It's the crapshoot with anything in professional sports. Nikola Jokic in the NBA was not a first-round pick. The Nuggets took him, and people, when the time, it was just one of those things. It was just flashed across the board. Wasn't even
Taco Bell commercial, wasn't it?
Yeah, the big quesarito.
The big quesarito. Guess what? He is the best player in the NBA, right? And then you have on the other spectrum of it, Anthony Edwards goes to the top of the draft, and guess what? He turns out to be a star, right? We don't know. But what we do know is we're going to talk about it 6 years later on what could or couldn't have been. But for the time being, Adley Rutschman, the talent is still there. For me, it's going to be, can Adley figure out how to fight Adley Rutschman? If he can do that, we're going to see the numbers progress. And when you're a catcher, you have a lot more responsibilities than just going out there and hitting. You got to be able to do so much more. That's why when you look at catchers' numbers offensively over the years, like Salvador Perez is that guy that comes to mind that's done tremendously.
I can't believe that guy's still playing baseball. I really can't.
And he's not catching as much, but it's still incredible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yadier Molina was one of the best defensive catchers, but offensively he had his limitations. Good player. Buster Posey is the name that everyone goes to. Buster was the pinnacle of superstar and being just an anchor to a pitching staff. And those are few and far between. Just be honest. But even other guys, catchers take a ton of abuse. So we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen. But don't sleep on Adley just yet. Don't close the door on him, Baltimore. I know we had Buck Showalter and a lot of other people rave, hey, don't close the door on him. See what happens.